Hey guys, welcome back to That 1870s Homestead. My name's Rachel.
And I'm Todd.
And this is the night before. The night before a month-long journey to refinish these hardwood floors.
Tomorrow we'll start sanding, collect all the sawdust, make a slurry, run that over the floor, sand it again, stain it, poly, sand, poly.
That's it, just twice.
I think so.
Yeah.
Something like that. But it's been a long journey to get here. And we took you guys on this whole journey with us from basically day one when we ripped up the carpet
And found
the original hardwood floors. Our intent was to put laminate flooring down. That was obviously not going to work. The floors were too uneven.
We didn't know, for anyone that hasn't seen the journey, we didn't know that this floor existed underneath it.
So we'll make sure that we link all of the videos about this project down in the description below the like button for you to check out if you're missing those and you haven't seen them.
But we think, honestly, like this back corner was a huge bow.
It was.
And everything's pretty rock solid now. You went through tonight and added some final screw-in stitching touches. He said it feels like I'm stitching her back together.
Yeah. There's a couple boards that were still kind of loose in the middle of the room where we had furniture and stuff like that. Our kids came over tonight. They helped us empty out all the rooms. All the loose boards have been screwed in, so I think we're ready.
Yes. We won't be back in this room for 5 days. So we'll see. It'll be fun.
I'm sure we can come here tomorrow.
We'll take in between shots.
Yep. And then at the end of this video, we'll do the final reveal and we'll show you how the floors turned out.
Exciting.
It will be.
Loud too.
Yeah, probably.
We both work from home, so we'll see how this goes.
Yep.
So see you guys when we see ya. Well, it is now Saturday, and the floor's done enough that we can walk on it with our socks.
So we're going to show you guys how it turned out today. They started the process on Wednesday. The guys showed up here pretty early, about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
And immediately got to work. These guys were hustlers.
Yeah, there was a three-man crew.
Three-man crew.
Two to three.
Yeah. They started early, prepping, fixing a couple of little screws were sticking up too high for their comfort of their sander. They got all that stuff down.
And we either couldn't get missed or missed a few staples and nails, and they got the rest of those.
Brought in the big giant drum sander and started going to town on the floor, and it was loud. It was not very messy, not as expected.
I want to talk about the loudness. So we said we both work from home and we weren't sure how this was going to go. And I work upstairs, and I was in a meeting like through Microsoft Teams, and I was like, "You have to yell. I cannot hear you." And they started laughing.
Yeah, it was kind of like that for me. I fortunately didn't have as many meetings as she does, but we were able to manage through it. I think by the end of day one, they had the entire floor sanded, everything leveled out. They even leveled out some of the remaining high spots for us. And then it was time to look at stain, because we had made up our mind ahead of time what stain we wanted.
But it came in two brands, right? It
came in two brands, and he wanted to double check to make sure you really like this.
Yep.
And they put the stain down, and
let's tell them, we picked I wanted to say flavor. We picked a color called, he pronounced it Jacobine. I pronounced it Jacobian when I looked at it. So one of those words.
I pronounce it Jacobine.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. He showed us a couple different colors. We landed on our first choice, but then Rachel said, "Let me see what it would look like with just natural stain on it, like just the natural wood color."
And I was tempted because I happened to be down here when they were washing the floors after all the sanding. And oh my gosh, was that gorgeous. Just the raw wood color. But when he laid down that, like a pretend sample of what natural stain would look like, it really pulled a ton of orange. And I was like, that is like a phobia for me is orange wood.
Yeah.
I struggle with it. Like, so we have a lot of orange wood at the cabin, and I can deal with it in moderation, but to live with it, oh gosh, like I literally get a lump in my throat thinking about it. So we ended up going with the Jacobine and in the Bona brand.
The natural wood, I think we both were second guessing, like that was really, really pretty, but the orange, and then all of our trim is dark. So it just would have been like this clash of stuff. So.
Yeah, or we would have just turned into this massive Todd job because I couldn't have lived with it.
Right. So they put the stain down. It was decided. They put that down and just let it sit overnight. We woke up the next morning.
It stunk, by the way.
It did stink. The stain stunk worse than the poly.
We were warned that the poly was going to be worse. I mean, the poly smelled, but it was like a 2-hour duration of smell, where the stain smell stayed for like 24 hours. Sorry, I just needed to tell you all the things about the project.
Yeah, and we woke up the next morning.
Okay, hold on, we're rushing. So when they put the stain down, then I really freaked out because it was so dark. After seeing it all sanded and natural, I'm like, oh, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? I woke up the next morning and I breathed a little bit sigh of relief because it had lightened quite a lot. And as that stain dried and settled into the wood. You didn't have the same reaction when you saw it the next day.
I did not, because I think the stain, as it dried and penetrated the wood, a lot of the fibers of the wood kind of pooped up, kind of made like fuzz, and that fuzz to me had a gray tint to it.
Yes.
And gray floors is something that I'm not a fan of, nor is she.
Right. And I did notice that, but I kind of in my mind, I figured once the poly went on, it would be richer looking again. But yeah, so gray wood and orange wood, to me, those aren't wood colors. I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, let's show you guys the floors. Let's show you how it turned out, and then we'll tell you a little bit about the remainder of the process.
Want to see? There's no furniture in it, so it's just floor.
Yep, totally empty. Our house is still a mess. We need another 24 hours until we can put everything back to normal.
Yes. Ready? Come on in. Ta-da! Yay! This is the first time I've walked on it. First time with you guys. So we love how the oak turned out. Doesn't it look so great with the trim? Like, to me, it just looks so authentic. So authentic. Absolutely love it. We don't have like the floor grates put back in yet or anything. They did a really good job fixing some of the holes that we found. But I'm gonna put a sock on the pine and a sock on the oak, and it's quite a bit different. So this is the oak where my foot's tapping, or no, the pine. This is the oak. So the pine oddly sanded. Quite a bit darker. But we found some interesting things pop out as they were standing, like a lot of wormholes. I thought that was just so cool. We didn't notice that until it was stained and sanded. But I love it. Let's get Todd in here and give you his impression. First time we're feeling it and everything.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
I mean, like, so just remember what it looked like.
It was covered with drywall mud, spackling, paint, all kinds of stuff. And all that got stripped down to bare wood, restained. So the poly process, like we said earlier, they left just the stain on Wednesday night. Thursday morning they came, they put a coat of poly, and the wood just came to life.
It really did.
When it was wet, it was super, super shiny, which we didn't want. We wanted a satin finish like we got. But it was beautiful. They came back Thursday afternoon, did another coat of poly.
A really thick layer that time.
Thicker. Friday morning they came out, really light sander, and they sanded the whole thing because the poly can pull some of those little fibers up out of the wood again, and it gets kind of fuzzy. So they sanded all that off, and then the third and final, the extra thick coat of poly.
Yeah. Like I was wondering, like, how is this ever gonna dry? It was like really thick.
Yeah, it did take a long time to dry.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some things that we need to finish up and wrap up. You can see right along here where the original toe molding or shoe molding used to be right here to fill these gaps between. So we're gonna buy some more of the stain that they use. We'll probably buy some oak shoe molding. We'll get it stained, we'll get it polyed. We'll come back through and nail that along to fix some of these gaps. There's some bigger ones in different places, smaller ones in other places, obviously, because house is old. So this is our office den area. It turned out just as good. If you come over here, in our original tear up the floor video, I pointed out the hole that was in our floor, which is, here, come closer. This is where that hole was originally. I put a piece of wood underneath and then cut a piece to put in there, and all the little cracks got filled. So after they did the initial sanding process and got all the wood stripped down, a lot of times what they'll do back in the day, they would take all the sawdust from the bag, pour it on the floor, basically pour glue on it, and turn it, mix it all together into like a paste, and then work that paste all across the floor to fill all the tiny little holes. They said they don't really do that anymore. That's kind of old school. They use like a pre-mixed stuff. It looks like peanut butter almost, that they smear all across the floor to fill all the little gaps, all the little cracks. But then when they come back through and sand, the sanders have such a strong vacuum on them that it ends up pulling some of the stuff out of the cracks. So when we first ripped up the carpets, I did this walkthrough right here now that you can see. This is how things looked before, with just the carpet removed. And now this is how it looks today.
While he was showing you the room, I went and got cleaning stuff and was getting going on cleaning. He's like, we didn't finish the video. I was like, I just, with all the furniture out, you see like all the cobwebs and everything that's been hidden behind furniture.
Yeah.
And we put new light bulbs in the ceiling fan, so it's a lot brighter in here, and now I see even more cobwebs than I saw before.
Yeah.
Which is a funny story, because you know, we're getting older and we wear glasses and stuff. And I have to take my glasses off to do my makeup. And I told him the other day, I was cracking myself up upstairs. Put on my makeup, I'm like, oh, Rachel, you look so young. And then I put my glasses on and I was like, oh, never mind. It was just because I couldn't see all the fine lines and wrinkles and everything. Yeah. And that's kind of what the house is.
Those like fancy filters on your phone that smooth everything out.
It was like without glasses, I have one of those filters on.
Yeah, funny.
But anyway, the house feels that way a little bit right now. Like suddenly you're seeing things differently in new light, and it needs a good cleaning, especially after sanding. While that machine does catch a lot of dust, but we didn't tell him about that. So if you're looking at having this job or another job similar, there was quite a lot of dust settle throughout the house. So for a couple of days there, every day, I was just wiping everything down. So that's to be expected, I guess.
Yeah, it wasn't super bad, but like we did drywall or something and you end up with that thick layer, just a thin layer. But tomorrow we should be able to put our house back together. We bought a new rug to go in here. We bought a new couch.
The couch won't be here tomorrow, though.
All kinds of
Christmas.
putting of things back together. Christmas tree has to go up.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to do. But I wanted to thank you guys as well for your encouragement. And a lot of you guys were like, you guys got this. You can do this. You can fix those floors. You can save them. So thank you guys for encouraging us to put in the extra work to get this done and fix it right and level the floors and put support underneath them in the basement. And
Right.
I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
Right. And everyone that said we will not regret it was 100% spot on. Not an ounce of regret. So, sure, we will be loving this floor for many, many, many years to come.
So we'll see you guys on the next video.
Bye, guys.